So there's a lot of key important levels that are happening right now across the S&P 500, especially the Dow Jones. And I really want to cover some of the mining stock stuff. There's some really important patterns and some key levels that are really important to what's likely to happen moving forward this week. And that's what I want to share with you right now to get you ready for this week. Let's go straight into it. Don't place a trade based on what you'll see in this video because there is no guarantees of making a profit in the market. It takes you a long time to become a good trader. So this video here is just to educate you to become a much better trader. Alrighty, traders, let's get straight into it. Before I do start, guys, make sure I'm giving away my trading course for absolutely free. I don't know how long I'm going to keep doing. I'm going to do this. I've just been doing it for the last few days. But if you want to get access to it now, very first link in the description, or just go to johnsfreegift.com, and I'm going to give you literally a complete free trading course. You can see the details on the screen there. But guys, I'm literally giving it away for free just to help you guys out. Go get the help you need. Now, let's talk about the key levels. The key levels in today's markets. Let's actually start off with a good old DJ. Okay, so there's a few things that's important for us when looking at the markets. Okay, so the first thing that is we need to understand is looking at the very short term. Okay, there's what's called what I learned from one of my earliest mentors. Very successful mentor. He turned, I think it was roughly 20 grand at about 3 million in about 5 years. So 2 million, $20,000 trading account into $3 million in 5 years. Now, and I really learned the art of small picture, big picture. Now the small picture is obviously like, what's going on right now? Okay, that's the small picture. Okay, so let's actually bring this up here. So one of the important things for us as a trader, right? The one thing that I realized time and time again is that we can look at indicators. And indicators, you know, just because an indicator is oversold or overbought or giving us a bullish setup, it doesn't mean it's the right thing to do. Okay, so one thing that's made me so successful in the markets overall, right? I have my periods where I go through losses and sometimes like that. It makes sense. Most of the time it's because I'm screwing up. But one thing that's made a huge difference to my trading is actually trading what the market is telling me and not the indicator. A lot of us are trying to look for that indicator to like give us that holy grail when that's the market, you know, when the market is actually the thing that's going to teach you. Again, in that free trading course, I think it's phase 3, I actually teach you my trading system that if you use it, it gets a massively high success rate. Like a perfect setup will get like a 90+% success rate, at least on the short-term profit target. So guys, and guess what? That system there, all it relies on what is literally just the chart and volume, but you don't even really need the volume, so you can throw the volume out, really just the chart, right? So I'm sorry, I lied, and one moving average, right? So it's the chart is the most important thing, and the better we can read the chart, the better trader will be. And that's obviously the reason why I do these updates for you, is to help you become a much better traders, not just looking for that quick tip, but looking for, okay, yes, that's what's happening right now across the markets, but how do I actually do this for myself, right? Because a lot of people, they see me do a technique and they go, oh, John, what do you think about X, Y, Z? And I look at that comment and I say, okay, please take what I just shared with you, take that technique, whether it's big picture, small picture, support resistance, trend analysis, whatever, overbought, oversold analysis. Please take what I just shared with you and go apply it to your charts, right? Because that's how you're going to get really good. And I want to actually share something with you here before I do start. Here's the thing, guys. This is the big thing for you to focus on moving forward into this year. Okay, this is a quote from Bruce Lee. I fear not the man who has practiced 10,000 kicks once, but I fear the man who has practiced one kick 10,000 times. Every successful person I know, it doesn't matter whoever you say, whoever you look at, they're successful at what? Really just one thing. And then afterwards they branch out, but they start off with one thing and they get so good at it. Look at Tony Robbins. You look at Steve Jobs. Look at all these different people, right? They had their 100% focus on that one thing. And that's the number one thing in common with these successful traders that I personally go to get coaching from, is that they have their one thing they're looking for, their one approach, and they practice that 10,000 times. And that's been a big key for me, okay? So that's obviously for the 3% club there. Now, for you guys that are just going, John, shut up with the whole bullshit, you know, just show me the money. That actually was the money, by the way. But unfortunately, unfortunately, you're going to be the 97%ers who next year you won't even be in the market because you'll be blown away. And that's actually the analysis as I'm bringing up my charts here. That's actually the analysis of, or that's the facts around these markets, guys. I don't want you to be. I don't want you to be blown out of the market. I don't want you to go backwards. Yes, you're going to go through some tough times in the markets. That's the inevitable beast of the markets. But I want you to do really well, right? So I try to arm you with the truth about getting ahead in the markets, and not some airy-fairy fluff bullshit, right? That all these fucking other bullshit other people out there are going to tell you. I'm going to arm you with the truth. And then, I say, okay, cool. Well, let's actually continue through this. Now, okay, John, shut up now. Let's actually get into the charts. All right. So I'll teach you some TA, all right? Let's get into some TA. So if I look at this here right now, we've actually got a few trend lines on this weekly chart. The big picture here is I've got a few trend lines here that I've identified as support and resistance levels. They may or may not be valid. We just have to sort of see what's going on here. But we have this bottom line through here, and we have this other line through here, which actually has definitely collected a lot of support and resistance going through there. So for me personally, I'm not sure whether it's actually through there. We definitely do collect a lot of the support. There's actually definitely a lot of area through there where we definitely found a lot of support. So it's going to be really interesting to see what actually happens here, or whether I'm just making that up. That's actually always a question mark there. If I look at something like this, right, that's probably more of the line. If I'm looking for a more valid line, let's actually take this off the screen now. If I'm looking for more of a valid line, that's probably going to be the line that I'd use going through there, as you can see, right? So we're breaking down through here. So it's actually really interesting. Now, the interesting thing that I'm looking at right now is that's obviously the short-term picture, but look at this here. If I draw a resistance line through there, you can see that on this weekly chart, you can see how we've actually had a lot of problems through here. And once we broke above this 35,000 level, let me zoom right in. You can see actually we had a lot. Once we actually broke it, which actually took a few weeks, we came down and we tested it as support, and now we've actually broken down through this level through here. So let me actually bring this over here for a bit. That's the one I'll be using. So there you go, connecting the low, low, low. So we are breaking down below, and look what's happening now. We're rallying back up and testing this area of resistance here. So we're definitely not looking good. And if we have a look at the short-term daily charts, where on the markets, on the Dow Jones, we are definitely looking at a high. We've got a sort of a low, we've got a lower high, and now we're breaking down, and we've got a lot of resistance around this sort of area through here. Now the short-term analysis that I'm looking at here, if I bring this up, I can see how that there was indeed a bit of resistance all through here around that 34,000 level. You can see just right here, it has actually been a lot of resistance where the market has been sort of an area, right, of the 34,000 and 800 level. So we have this support, all this support levels through here, and then we've actually broken down. Excuse me. And then now we actually can see, right, we've had a lot of, once we actually broke down past it, we've had a lot of problems, a lot of resistance. So I wouldn't be too surprised, guys, to see a bit more of a pullback through here. Out of the Dow Jones. So that's one of the most important key levels. But the thing that I'm looking at for is, you can see we have a bit of a short-term momentum trend line coming down through there. So if you can see what I've done through there, all I've done is I've just connected this high here, and you can see how it's gotten very, very close to basically that high right there. So what I've done there is I've done that, and the reason why is because even though I have a bearish sort of tone out of the Dow Jones right now, this could be some sort of a bear trap, because this actually what happened in the Dow Jones before as well too. You can see how the Dow Jones came down, it made a lower low here, and when it made a lower low from there to there, it was sort of just a fake out before we actually went for another move. So I've got to be really careful around these levels through here on the Dow Jones. It's like, is this going to be some sort of a fake out, meaning when a bear trap, so to speak? And if so, then we're likely to see something going on through there. So that's one thing I'm really looking at. And as I'm just doing this analysis, I've just noticed there's probably another line that I can use. You can see we have a higher low, and another higher low through here. And if I use my Fibonacci tool and I go from the low through to the high point, you can see we're definitely at this level right now around the 50 to 60% level. It's holding here. If we start to break past, especially this 60% level, then it's probably going to be, it's probably going to have a flush back down towards these low levels through here around that sort of, you can see there's major sort of support levels around the 33,600 or 33,800. Around that sort of 200 band area is a lot of sort of support all through here, as you can see. So this is a whole this whole area around that sort of around the 3,500 level, give or take a little bit through there. You can see that that's a whole area. If I go to my weekly charts, you can see how that was the last sort of significant levels of support. So on the Dow Jones, we can see how we've had this major resistance through here. We are breaking down, but we are still at a 50% level. So for some unknown reason, if we do start to hold and continue breaking back up and start to get back above sort of this resistance line through here, this sort of 35,100, then that's going to be bullish for the markets, and we're probably not going to start to see a significant bull move. I'm expecting sometime this year to see one crazy blow off move on the upside. So maybe we're just getting this short-term pullback for a few weeks, and then maybe leading in October, November, December, maybe we're going to see a big move up from there. So maybe for the next week we get a pullback, and that's going to be like the bit of a slingshot to see the upside move. So, but we have to, they're the key levels through here. If we start to break, we're likely to continue down. But if the 50% Fibonacci holds and we start to break back above here, we're starting to gain momentum back on the upside, especially if you can see that we've actually held here really strongly. We've held it, and we've actually held it on this downward phase. If we start to get back above it like this here, especially this trend line here, if we start to get back above here and we start to do something like that, then as you know, remember this trend line right here, this one right here is a major support level. Remember that? It's also rejecting it. So this is a very key level through here, as you can see. So if we, I'm expecting to see a more downside, but it's actually very interesting situation here. So the main keys I'm really focusing on myself here, guys. Let me actually bring up a bit of a thick line here, and I want to just go into the color green. The main keys I'm looking out for here, just to see what's going on, is that let me actually take this trend. I'm going to bring that trend line down through to there. All right, I'm going to bring that trend line down through to right there, because that's the most recent one, right, on the Dow Jones. So this is the most recent one on the Dow Jones. You can see we had a lot of support around this level, 34,800. We had a lot of recent support, and we broke back up and we came back down, and now you can see a lot of resistance around the 34,800. But also remember this long-term, this thick line. Let me actually just make that a little bit thicker, right? So if I make that thick line through there, remember this thick line is also a significant line in basically in the markets that's actually been, as you can see, we've had a lot of support bouncing all the way up, all through here, bouncing, and now we've actually broken below it. So that's actually a very bearish sign for initially. But if the bulls are going to take control, which I do think they will soon, and if the bulls are going to do that, then again, you can see here that firstly, we've got major levels of resistance through here. And so if the bulls do start to hold here for some unknown reason, I do expect to see this market come down, but it's very hard to say because we are at key levels of 50% Fibonacci's. Fibonacci's are holding strong here around this level. So I'm expecting to see something like that going on. But if for some reason, guys, the market sort of changes around and we start to maybe hold low through here and we start to do something like this where we break up and we start to get back above that level, especially like that, well, guess what? We actually broke past then. All this is a confluence of resistance where we are right now. If we do start to break back above this level here, it's a big, major turning point, and then we're likely to see a pretty significant move to new highs and maybe even a race towards 40,000 by the end of the year. I'm not saying this is going to happen, guys. We have to wait and see. It's a bit of a do or die situation where we are right now in the Dow Jones. And so looking at that through there. And so once again, you can see we have one resistance coming down through here. We have this other support and resistance line coming through here. And we have this other support, which also is now resistance line coming through here. So if we start to get back above 35, or if we start to get into if we see a 35,200 print, that's going to get us back above three major resistance lines that's happening now. And if that happens, this whole thing here was just one big bear trap. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be, guys. I don't know what's going to be. We have to wait and see for the pattern. But this is probably like this. If that does happen, this is probably going to be one big massive bear trap, and then we're going to see a massive move to the upside following for the rest of this year. But right now, guys, as I speak, the market is rejecting a lot through here, so I would expect to see this market continuing down. You can see we've had a lot of resistance through here. So again, the Dow Jones is very sort of we're right at that level of resistance through there. So let's go have a look at the S&P 500. Let's actually look at the short term, the big picture, small picture, so on and so forth. So let's actually look at the big picture first, which is the weekly charts. And the big picture I see on the weekly charts is firstly we have this significant line through here, and let me just make that a bit thicker. All right, so I'm just going to make that a little bit thicker. And I'm just going to make this level here a bit thicker as well too, okay? Because they're the main lines we're looking at right now. So this main line, we can see the very top line through here. This is wedgie we're actually in right now. But if I look at my actual trend lines, if I draw it from the support down here, actually if I draw it from there to there, let me actually just redraw them right now live on the spot. You can see that that's probably the line. Yeah, that's probably the line we would want to see through there. I would start to use that point through there, and you can see it bouncing off through there, and now we're popping out to the downside. So I know a lot of people are looking at this level through here, so it's going to be really interesting to see how this sort of plays out. If I go to my short-term sort of charts as well, let's actually look at the last. What I'm going to do is look at the last sort of 6 months, and I'm going to try to find, is there any recent trend lines that we can use here? So we have a low, higher low, higher low. I'm just looking for recent sort of channels and support levels that may come into play where we are right now. We know we're in this big wedge and we're actually breaking to the outside. We know that. So I'm just trying to find the most recent ones that are relevant to me right now that may come into play. And this is what I call parameters. The parameters are just basically, where are the significant support or resistance levels in these markets? So we know we're definitely breaking out of this level through here, which is important. But let me just take that off the screen right now, because there may be something else building here right now that most people are not looking at. Everyone's looking at the wedgie, right? Everyone's talking about, oh, the wedge, the wedge, the wedge. So maybe there's something else that I'm not seeing right now. And maybe, just maybe, the trend line I just drew, which actually is definitely valid. Look how valid that trend line is right through there, right? We have a support level through here. We bounced, and we bounced. So looking at this level, we've had this pullback, right? Look at this pullback. We're getting a lot more of a pullback than I would like to see. But this, if you have a look at the Fibonacci, if I go from the low through to the high point through here, you can see how it came down to the 30%, less than 50%, and then continued up. If I go down to this level through here, you can see how, look what actually happened here. We came down to where? We came down to the 60%, and then we held. If I'm looking at it right now, you can see how if I go from the high down to the low, look where we are right now. We're actually right at that, or just closing below the 60% level. So that's actually, we're starting to get a much more of a weaker pullback, but we are still in an upward trend on the S&P 500, right? Very, very, very key. We're right at that level there. But as you can see, let me actually just, I'll keep those levels on there, and let me just delete it. As you can see, right, we're definitely at this longer term sort of support line. So this is the area, this is the key areas, guys, that we must keep an eye for, because again, most people are watching for the wedge in the markets, but not a lot of people, because if most people are looking at something, then I need to veer away from that, because obviously if most people are looking at it, the market knows you're looking at it, right? So it's probably going to cause some sort of fake out or whatever. I need to say, okay, but most people, what most people are not seeing is exactly what is going on right here, at least on the very short-term basis, right? Yes, we have this, once again, major long-term trend line. Everyone knows it. Let me delete this off the screen, because all we're trading with right now is what's happening right now. So we have a major channel in place. And maybe we're about to get a bit of a support level through here, coming through this level through here somewhere. So let me see if I can just draw. I'm just trying to get the most bounces off this level through here. So maybe I'll just do that. Again, I'm just trying to get the most bounces, that's all. Yeah, let's actually just go through there, right? That'll be the key level I'd use. And it's the same for that through there. So that'll be the key levels I'm looking out for, guys. So maybe on the Dow Jones, when we're seeing that breakthrough, maybe that is just a bear trap. It's going to be really interesting to see what actually happens here moving forward, whether we do find support. Now, if we break past these levels through here, it's going to be it's going to be a game changer. And the reason why is because the trend analysis, which is the trend is your friend until the end. So if we go from a low point to a high point, higher lows, higher lows, higher lows, and now we're rallying down right now. So if we start to break out of this here, we start to do something like this, moving into this point through here, all right, and we start to break this low, that's going to break now the trend. The trend. Remember, the saying is the trend is your friend until the end. When is the end of the trend? The end of the trend is when we actually stop doing what? Higher lows and higher highs. If we actually break a low, we're no longer making higher lows. And if you remember, this is exactly the structure that actually, or the structure. This is the trend analysis that actually happened at the top of what? At the top of Bitcoin. If you guys remember Bitcoin back here, right? So if you go back to Bitcoin, it's the same thing. And again, you can see I've got the arrows on here. The market continued to make higher lows, higher lows, higher lows. Look at this here. Came down, look what? Broke a what? A low. This was the warning sign that this trend is now potentially coming to an end. Came up, rally down, lower high, and then we got a big crash down. See what I'm saying here? So if the market starts to develop something like this, that's when it's like, okay, I need to maybe look out for it. If this happens, then maybe a sharp correction, just like happened with Bitcoin, is on its way. We're not there yet, but that's the thing I need to keep an eye out for, right? So that's what I'm seeing right now on an absolute short-term basis, looking at the S&P 500. We just look at the last 6 months. So the S&P 500, that's the very key important levels there. Let's actually just create another parallel trend line from there to there, right? You can see how that's the channel, how it's been very, very, very significant. So maybe once again, guys, maybe this is the bear trap. The key levels I want to see for that, I'm going to be watching out for to see whether this downward momentum that we're getting right now is coming to an end, is a breaking of this trend line through here. So you can see if I draw this trend line down through there like that, like so, notice what I just did through there, right? So this is the short-term downward momentum now. Again, I'm now going from, as you can see, right, I'm going from big picture to small picture to trend analysis to looking at momentum. But notice I'm just using the chart here, right? So while we have higher lows and higher lows, if we want to see this market change momentum and actually change the tune here, if it does, then what we'll see is just like what happens, just like in Dow Jones, if we start to see that in the Dow Jones, we can start to see if we do start to hold here for some reason like this, and then we start to get a break above there. You notice how that this whole level, it held there, couldn't close above, couldn't close above, couldn't close above, couldn't close above. Notice this whole rejection point. This whole level has been a rejection point for the markets. So if the market does hold here and we start to rally back up, then that's now saying, okay, this downward short-term momentum that we've had, this pullback phase, because we are in an upward trend, so it is a pullback, counter trend, is now likely to become an end because we've now broken this. We've now broken this short-term momentum, obviously by this downward trend line here. And if we get that, then we're probably likely to see something like this and a rally back up. And then if that happens, then I truly believe we're likely to see a significant blow-off move for the rest of this year in the markets. But again, guys, this is the key levels here. But if I'm looking at the big picture, that's what I'm looking at for on the S&P 500. So you can see there's different levels that's happening there right now on the S&P 500. If I go to the good old Nasdaq, and let's actually look at the big picture, let's actually go to the weekly charts. So the big long-term weekly charts is that we are in this. We don't need that there because that's really nothing. That's just 1 point. But you can see, but we've had this significant long-term support level coming all the way up through here, as you can see. So major significant level, and then we've also got another trend line coming up through here as well too. So we can see this level through here. We have a support level through here, support, and now we're actually coming back down here. So the long term on the Nasdaq is the strongest out of all of them. If we go to the short term analysis, and if I look at my Fibonacci levels from the low point to the high point, we're only at the 38% level on the Nasdaq. The Nasdaq's the strongest. So even if the Nasdaq has a bit more of a pullback, we've got this whole area from this trend line here, which is, remember, that's that support line. And let me actually bring that support line back into there. Yeah, that'll be on there. So that'll be the low, that'll be the low. So this trend line here, look where it comes back down into. let me zoom back in now for the last 6 months. You can see how, actually the last 3 months, right? Small picture. Let's go back to small picture, not big picture. Small picture, we're getting a pullback. But look where we are. We're only at the 38%. So if we have a bit more of a drop down, we're only getting towards the 50% level. And this long-term level here on the Nasdaq is actually that next support level. So there's 2 levels of support on the Nasdaq. I'm very bullish to Nasdaq. I think we're likely to see at least a 17,000 print by the end of this year. That's my target, and I've had that for quite some time. And also, you can see that this 50% Fibonacci level is also this 50, also the 50 to 60%. If I drew a band around that 50, so this is the 50 level over here and the 60% level. Can I make that? I'm just trying to, let's actually not make it too thick. All right, there we go there. All right. All right, cool. So you can see what I'm looking at here, right? You can see that, but if I was just seeing if I could make this number thicker for you to see if you can see it. Okay, but you see, I'm hoping you can see it there. 50% and 60%. This whole 50 to 60% level is a major level from the market perspective, because you can see what's happening here, right? You can see, oh, this was a rejection around the 50% level, but also around this 60% level, there's also a significant resistance as well too. So there's a significant resistance and support, and then we're likely to break back, and then we broke up. So coming back down here, not only are we getting the 50 to 60% Fibonacci support, but we're also getting support around the actual market price. But then we're also getting support around this, remember, this longer term trend line that's coming up as well too. So once again, if we're looking at the short term momentum, which is the short term pullback, it's just a counter trend. And we are still in a very big bull market on the Nasdaq. There has been nothing changed out of this one here. If we have a look at this, you can see how that we've had a low, ran up, higher low. We had a big move up, came down, higher low, moved up, came down, higher low, moved up, came down, higher low, right? So we're in a very, 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 very good, strong trend. There was actually not even close to the 60% level. So the Nasdaq is still very strong, guys. Nasdaq is completely different. It's pulling away from all the other ones. So maybe this is telling us we're about to get some big moves from the tech sector again. So I've actually made a lot of money in the past few months from writing things like Microsoft, Adobe, and so on and so forth. So it's actually been really good to me. But looking at this very short-term momentum, once again, as I said before, we're seeing this pullback. When's this pullback likely to end? Well, when we actually start to get to me, one of the big key factors for me would be a close below, and I'd have to use the trend line through there. And the reason why is, as you can see, we actually point through there, we rejected it there, it actually rejected it there and rejected there. So that's actually the rejection point coming down on this short-term correction, short-term pullback. That'll be the trend line that I'll be looking for to see whether we're likely to see an upward move out of this here from a short-term downward momentum perspective. Once again, just like the Nasdaq and the Dow Jones and the S&P, if we do start to see something like this, then that's probably going to be the end of the pullback, and then we're likely to see something like that as well too, and then a continuation of the upward movement from there. So they're the main indices that's happening right now across the board when it comes to the S&P 500, the Dow Jones, and also the Nasdaq. Let's go have a look right now, guys, at silver and gold, and let's actually bring up some real short-term analysis here. We'll go small picture, big picture here. Now let's actually go to big picture on gold first. What's actually really going on with gold, and what can we see here? So if I bring up the big picture over the last sort of maybe say 10 or so years, or maybe say 5-6 years, maybe more. If I bring that up, there's a few main key things that I'm noticing here. Firstly, we have this significant, if I bring this up, make it a bit thicker right there. If I bring that up, you can see that we've had this long-term weekly line has had a lot of rejections around this point. A lot of rejections, a rejection point, rejection point, rejection point, had a lot of confluence to there. And we've had 1, 2, and also 3. And we're at that level right now on the gold chart, right? So this is the big picture looking at gold. So big, massive, long-term picture looking at gold. And now we're seeing an overall pullback that's actually happening here. When it comes to, when it comes to the gold, this gold chart. So we're in a significant sort of long-term resistance coming up. And that's actually, you can see the markets recently over the last sort of 6 months or so, we've been rejecting off this level and we're coming back down to that level right now. But the other trend line there's also that I'm noticing as well too, is this one right through here. If I bring that up through there, and if I make that a little bit thicker, this black line, look what is also happening, right? If I bring this over here, yeah, let me just bring this over here so we can see what's happened over the last couple of years. We've seen we had a rejection point all through there. Once it actually broke it, look at the resistance became support, then it became support again, then it became support again, and then look what happened recently, it became support again. So there's a couple of major levels of support through level 3. Now guys, these are support levels. They could slice through that, you know, support levels are broken all the time, right? But it's just the pattern that I'm looking out for. What is going on through here? I personally am looking to add to my longer term position in gold, but I haven't done so yet. I took a short term futures trade and got stopped out recently. It was only a small risk on my account, like less than 0.5% risk on my account, because I wanted to see if we're going to break out. We didn't, and you guys know about that. Plus the mining sector, I got out with a small loss because it just wasn't working out. But I want to start to see this thing break out to the upside. If this is a move down before a move back up in the mining sector, then it's going to be really, 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 really powerful, because you can see once again we're squeezing up into this overall sort of triangle pattern on this weekly chart. So it's going to be pretty big, guys, when we do break out. So let's have a look at the daily charts now. We can see, looking at the daily charts, that we actually really are sort of like, what's actually happening here when it comes to price movement. We're not really in a downward trend. We're not really in an upward trend. There's actually, this market is indecision. No upward trend, no downward trend, indecision. So we have, and what I mean by that is, you can see that we had a strong move down, and then we had a move up, and then we had a move down, and then we had a move up, and now we had a move down. So very, 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 very interesting to see where we are right now. Where would the Fibonacci levels come into play when it comes to this level? So if I move the Fibonacci levels from low to high, you can see we're actually right at that level. If I bring that there, we're right at that, actually the 50 to also 60% level as well too. So do we continue down from here out of this level? So it's going to be really, really, really interesting to see how this works out. What I'm personally looking for, what I'm personally looking for, traders, myself, to buy something and buy and hold it long term, that's going to give me a probability. That's not right now, okay, on gold. I am looking to get back into gold. I already have a long-term gold position. I see over the next 5 or 6 or 7 years, we're likely to see some fireworks, but I've had that for, you know, a couple of years now. So I'm actually well in the profit. I got in back down through around early 2019. So I'm still well in profit with that one. But I'm looking to add to that position. And the one thing I'm looking for is, I'm waiting for the market to tell me it's a good time to enter. And when would that be? I'm waiting for the market to create what? A higher low, breaking past previous highs, and especially breaking out of this downward phase through here. Because I do see, once we do start to break out, now it may break down. I doubt it, but you know, that's the way the market works. So for me personally, if we can, I'm not saying this is going to happen, guys, all right? I know I joke with you guys sometimes about Donkey Kong and so on and so forth, but you know, one thing I'm really looking for when it comes to this market right now is I'm looking for a good significant higher low thing. I'm looking for the market to tell me, okay, the buyers are coming back in, right? I'm looking, so if we can hold here for some reason and we start to develop something like this, and then we break out like that, that's going to create a higher low, and then we're breaking out of this massive sort of squeezing up triangle pattern. That's going to be very, very, very powerful. This will be the point where I'm looking to, then this will be the point that give me confirmation, okay, now we're ready to start to make some big moves, or we're likely to make some big moves. I'm happy to add to my longer term positions, but not right now, right? Because who knows, this thing could just continue back down through here. So that's what I'm looking for there on gold, guys. And again, I just want to keep an eye on here of this level, because remember, guys, if you think about this for a minute, okay, this gold chart here, if we do create the high low, which again I'm barracking for, I'm hoping to get that, but you know, I'm never going to trade based on hope, right? I'm going to wait for the pattern, and then I'm going to jump in, because this actually could go down. But think about this for a minute. If we do get this pattern, firstly, we're getting a big massive higher low breaking past previous highs. That'll be the first higher low in this downward, in first pattern, which is a what? That'll be the first higher low breaking past previous highs since this downward phase started on the weekly charts. Because look what we've got here, right? Look what actually has happened here. We had a downward move. We had some sort of a downward phase, lower high, equal high, down, up. We made a higher low, but did we break past previous highs? No, came back down, came back up, came back down. You see what I'm saying through here, right? Look at this point right now. So if we get that, look at this here. That's the very first time, if we do get that. That's why this is actually pretty powerful right now to keep an eye over the next few weeks. Heck, maybe this week, or I doubt this week. But over the next few weeks, that's the very important key points that I'm looking out for when looking at this market, because this actually could be the most important part to us when we're actually looking at, okay, who's in control and what's likely to happen. And if we can start to get a big breakout through here, through like that, through there, then this actually could be this actually is a game changer, because this will be the first time we've actually created an upward trend out of this here, because we actually created a higher low, but we didn't break past previous highs here. So this will be the first time if we do get. That's the reason why this is actually so powerful. But again, guys, it may not happen, but if it does start to happen, then that's going to give me confidence now to add to my positions. But until then, guys, I'm not jumping in. I'm going to let the market tell me when the right time is to jump in on there. So that's what's happening right there on gold. Let's have a look at now silver. Silver is a different bit of a kettle of fish. Kettle of fish. Do you Americans say that? Do Americans say that? Kettle of fish. This is a different kettle of fish. I don't even know where that came from. Leave a comment below, guys. Where does that actually come from? This is a different kettle of fish. What even is a kettle of fish? Okay, so Google says fish kettle are saying a pretty kettle of fish, meaning origin. The express of the kettle of fish is a fine, nice fish. All right. A fish kettle is a kind of large overall shape. Blah, 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 blah. You guys don't need to know that, right? But anyway, leave a comment below. Let me know what's a kettle of fish. So if we're looking at the overall big picture here on silver, first thing I'm looking out for is that we've had a massive move up, and we're still silver's been one of those just wow, right? Just wow. We've actually developed some serious time here. But look at this here, guys, right? Look at this here. So if we actually look at this, if I go from this low point, I'm looking at the big Fibonacci levels right now. So this low point to the high point, we haven't even got down to the 50% level from this major low level here, right? So even though we're in this downward phase and we may get, I believe we'll likely get a bit of a flush down here soon. It's coming. I've said that for the last few weeks. If you've been watching me, like this, the trend is your friend until the end, and the trend is actually still down on that daily chart. I'll get to that in a minute. But this overall sort of, if I look at this trend line here, right? So we have this trend line going through there. That's not relevant right now. What is relevant right now is this downward, this short-term downward sort of phase that we're going through right now. This would be the trend line, maybe even through there. I'd have to use that as the trend line because that's what we're squeezing up as. You can see this significant support level all through here. Maybe if I brought that up just a little bit more to get the bounce here as well. So we've got the bounces through where we are right now. As you can see, we're getting this significant, all that sort of, that level where we were around the $23 level, getting a lot of support through here on this weekly chart. And now we're back at that level again as well too, and squeezing up into this pattern through here. So very, very, very interesting pattern and very, very interesting times goes on right now with silver. Once again, the whole, again, I've said it before, the trend is your friend until the end, right? And so we had a move down, lower high, lower high, lower high, and we're still making lower highs, and we're getting a flush down through here. So we're probably likely to flush this support level here. The reason why is because there's probably going to be a lot of stops underneath here, and that's going to be a key level. I don't believe it. This is my thoughts, guys. And what was that? This is my thoughts, but it may not happen. And this is what I'm hoping to see, so I can jump in and buy some more silver. Firstly, I see that we're probably likely to flush it. Probably likely to flush here, because there's going to be a lot of stops down here as well. So the market loves to run the stops. Secondly, when the market breaks a key level of support, and as you can see, we've had these key levels all through here and through here. Secondly, once that happens, a lot of traders then go short. So that's what happens when the market breaks. That's why the market will break a significant low and then suddenly retrace against you. It runs the stops. So if people have been long all through here, they've been putting their stops below the low here. And if it does, that's what the market does. So if the market does start to break down, then the pattern that I'm looking for is then a complete reversal. I want to see a flush down, but then I want to see something like this and then come straight back up again, like come right back up again. If we can get something like that, and especially if we can break out of this level through here, then that's going to be pretty powerful, and that's probably going to be an end of trend move. This is what I'm hoping for, guys, for me to add to my long-term silver position, because I believe in silver long-term. Long-term, what I mean is like over the next 5 years, right? 5-10 years, this decade, I believe we're likely to see some significant moves. Short-term, again, I'm just giving you the short-term analysis. This is what I'm hoping for. We may not get that. And until we get that, guess what? I'm not doing anything with silver. I want to see this pattern here to give me some sort of okay, now is the end of the trend, and now we're probably likely to start to see some big moves. But if we do get this pattern, guys, then that's going to be pretty powerful for the bulls. Now, that may not happen. We may flush down, or it may just continue down and start to run into the 50%, even the 60% level to really freak people out. So that's actually, they're the key levels I'm looking for, guys, when it comes to the silver market as well. If I go to the GDX, let's have a look at the GDX. The key levels I'm looking for on the GDX are where we are right now, actually. You can see this whole level, this major level through here, has indeed definitely been a significant support level. Let's actually go down now to the 6 months, and you can see we're at that level right now. We're breaking past this key level of support. So it's going to be really interesting, guys, to see what's going to happen here. Is this a continuation of the downtrend? Is this a bear trap? Like, what's this going to? It's very hard to say, right? We did have a bit of a gap, and now we're breaking. So I wouldn't be too surprised to see more downside coming out of this this downward phase through here. But you can see low came back down, and look at this here, and this is where like the market came. And look at it. If I measure from low to high, look what happened. It rallied up 50% and then rejected again. So we actually got a very strong downward trend through here. So it's going to be really interesting to see. I do see more selling coming into the mining stocks, but same sort of thing on silver as well too. I actually want to get back into the mining sector. I do actually have a very long-term investing position. I've got that in a separate account, and I'm holding that for like 10 years, or maybe not, but on a more, I want to also add to that position. And for me to do that, I want to start to see a potential sort of end of trend type of move, or a bear trap type of move, where if we do continue down through here, but then it pauses, and then suddenly we get a big spike up like that, back above it, that tells me what? Low, flush down, and then a flush back up. Then that'll tell me we're probably likely to see some big moves. But until we get that, guys, I'm not touching the mining stocks until I get a probability that we're likely to see some upward move. Until then, guys, we'll have to see how this pattern eventuates. But right now, the trend is continuing down. Is this going to be a bear trap? We'll have to wait and see from that there. Let's have a look at the GDXJ. And the GDXJ is actually really interesting. And the reason why is if I look at my long-term picture, you can see we've actually been in this long-term massive channel. If I bring up my weekly charts here for a minute, there's actually a few key levels that I'm looking at here right now. Firstly, we're actually in this massive long-term channel. See that point through there? And you can see all this low level through here, and we're at where we're at right now. So this major low level of support. And then we had all this significant level of resistance. So if we go to the daily charts right now, you can see what's actually been happening through here. If I bring my trend line up a bit more to make it more like actually valid, you can see we actually had we had a bounce through here. We had a bounce through there. It came down. Support now became what? Resistance. It had a little poke its head back above, and then it came back down. And now we're continuing back down through here. So the GDXJ, man, I'm losing my voice. It's like 45 minutes long into this market update for you guys. Gone detailed in this bitch. So we have this bit of a pullback through here. So we can see the significant resistance. So it's going to be really interesting to see how this overall big picture, how this sort of plays out from a downward trend perspective here. Once again, guys, what I'm looking for on the GDXJ, because I actually want to get back into the GDXJ, or I want to get into the GDXJ, should I say? The key levels I'm looking at for is like, can we get some? I want to see if this is going to be some sort of a bear trap or not. Like, are we going to continue down, which is probably likely because we are in this downward trend, Or do somehow we start to reverse back up and get back above this line through here? Then if so, this is going to be a bear trap. That's what I want to see for me to buy the mining sector, guys. For right now, the market's going down, and there's no way I'm going to be buying it until I get my pattern, until I see some sort of market that's going on through there. If I go to the SIL, and the SIL, we can see it's just continuing this very nice downward trend as well too. We've had this sort of high. We've come back down. We've made a lower high. We've come back down. We've made another lower high. And now we're doing this as well too. So very, 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 very interesting. Now, the interesting thing that I'm noticing on the SIL is this. If I bring up my trend line, even though we're actually at a bit of a support and resistance level here, the major level of support, there's major levels of support around this sort of $32 level. You can see that there. Maybe there's also something going on through here where we are right now. So maybe there's another trend line here. We've got a bit of resistance back here. Also a bit of resistance. You can see this whole level through here, a lot of resistance. And then you can see right here, we also had a lot of resistance through here before we broke up. Now guys, this is a weekly chart, remember? So this is 5 days, right? And then we broke back up. So really, 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 really interesting. There's two key levels of support that's happening where we are right now on the mining sector. And so on the SIL, shall I say. And so we're getting close to those levels. So it's going to be really interesting to see overall this big picture, even though we're in a downward trend, what actually happens through here? What happens when we start to get to this next support level? What happens when we start to get to this support level? That's going to be really, it's going to be really interesting. So, but once again, guys, I'm not buying. I'm not getting into the mining sector until the market starts to turn. I'm not going to pick the bottom, but I definitely want to see if we start to get that sort of bear trap, end of trend type of move, then that's what I'm going to look for. And the last one off the list that I want to share with you is the SILJ. If I look at the weekly charts and squeeze my SILJ up, there could be, which has been very significant. There's two key levels that have been important where we are right now on the SILJ. The first level, you can see how we had a lot of resistance around this longer term level 3. Remember, this is a weekly chart once again. So this sort of $12 area is very, very, very key for two reasons. One, we've got this major level all through here. And two, if I draw a trend line up through there, just like that, you can see how that was a starter point. A lot of support through this level, through there. It came back down, but a lot of confluence through there, and it also found resistance and then also support through there as well too. So there's actually two levels of support that's happening right now on the SILJ. Now guys, these are support levels. It could just slice through it like a hot knife through butter. All right, so it doesn't mean I'm gonna buy it. No, I'm just aware of where we are right now in the big picture, and then also when I'm looking at this, I also can see there's probably a bit of a long-term sort of. If I draw, I'm probably going to use. That level through there. The reason why, yes, we had a few pokers heads back above, so probably through there I would use that, maybe through there. You can see we're actually a bit of a downward triangle pattern. We've had a lot of resistance around this level through here. So a lot of resistance where we are, a lot of resistance here, a lot of resistance all through here as well too. And then guess what? We came down, now we're making lower highs. So we're in a downward trend, but now we're getting very, very close to these longer term levels of support all through here. So very, 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 very interesting point. Once again, guys, if I'm looking to get into the SIL, I want to at least see this thing hold right now and start to break to the upside like that. If we can get that, then that's going to give me a bit of a confirmation or a bit of a probability now we're likely to head up. Right now we're in a downward trend, so we could continue going down from here. So there's no way I'm jumping into, and you can see my view, right? I'm just waiting for the market to give me some sort of a turning point first. Give me some sort of probability the market's likely to move in that direction, and then I want to jump on that. And that's the same with my trading system that I use, guys. Like you'll notice, again, in phase 3 in that free trading course, you'll notice that in that trading course, right, I don't try to preempt that the market's going to break, right? I wait for the market to start to move in that direction, and then I jump into it, right? Then I jump onto it, and then I ride it for a little bit, and then I run away. So if you use the analogy, the way that I like to use these markets and the way that's important, right? We never want to try to pick tops and bottoms because we never know when that's going to be. the way that I like to think about my trading is that I'm the birds. I'm the birds in the jungle, right? And you got the lions, you got the zebras, and you got the cows and so on and so forth, right? Oh, actually, is there cows in the jungle? I don't know, maybe. Is there cows, right? And so the analogy is that what I like to do is that I'm the bird and I'm just sitting on the tree just watching everything happen. And the lion, the big guys are out there waiting to pounce at the right time and attack the zebra, right? Or attack the bull or whatever, right? And then guess what happens? When the lion's going to sit there for days and days and days and days and days waiting for that right time to strike. Then when the big guy, which is obviously the people who really push these market around, when they start to show their hand and they start to really turn this thing around, aka the lion then finally attacks the zebra, right? Starts to tear the zebra apart, starts to go hammer and tongue. Guess what? Then I'm the bird. I come back down. I wait for them to do their thing, and then I grab a little piece of meat and then I run away, right? Before I get eaten as well too. That's what trading is all about, right? So I wait for the people who put these guys who are pushing hundreds of millions of dollars, billions of dollars, trillions of dollars literally around these markets every day, are waiting for them to show their hand first of what may happen, of what they may be doing. And then I'm looking is just to jump on their coattails for a little bit, not try to get a big move, jump on their coattails a little bit and then run away, right? And then go do it again and again and again. And then guess what? And then make money. So that's the way that I like to see my trading here, guys. And you guys can do this. I believe in you guys. All right. I believe in you, but it's important to have some sort of approach, not try to capture the bottom line. And as you can see, I'm waiting for these patterns to tell me what's going to happen first. Then it's going to give me some sort of a probability of it happening. But until then, I don't know what's going to happen. I can just wait to see these are important levels that I'm keeping an eye out for this week. And then we can go from there, because guess what? You are an incredible person and you are an amazing trader, and I believe in you. But if you're not doing well, all you have to do is just start to focus on what are the most important patterns to you that you trade. Start to lower your risk. Don't look for a get rich quick scheme, and you too can absolutely crush it and finish this year off amazing. Hey traders, I'm giving away 100% free access to my brand new breakthrough full trading course. This is 8 videos over 10 hours of pure amazing and powerful strategies. This is my most powerful systems and strategies that I've used for the last 16 years, and I'm giving it away for free. So this is what I want you to do right now. I want you to go to johnsfreegift.com, or there should be a link around here somewhere, a button or in the description or somewhere in there. Click on that and you can go get free access to my brand new breakthrough trading course. So go to johnsfreegift.com right now. Go do that right now, guys. You can get full, complete, free membership access. Go do that right now.